What's up,
All right.
everybody? Welcome to the show from the Valley to the Mountaintop podcast. I'm your host, Micah Gibson. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome, welcome, welcome. On this podcast, we interview business owners to see the ins and outs on what it took to build their particular business. I hope you brought your pen and pad because today we have a special guest in the building. I'm gonna let him introduce himself and his company. And while you're at it, sir, give us a little bit of background on your upbringing.
Hey, hello everybody. I'm Josh Hillery with Hillary's Photography. I run a photography company. We mostly specialize in weddings. However, we do every other type of photography as well. Far as my background, I'm a young black man. Came from a small town named Corsicana in Texas. Where I come from, you really don't see too many black people make it in business. If you want to get successful, you usually go to the military, go to the NBA, NFL, be an athlete, or be an entertainer, comedian, actor. But far as business, that's something you don't see too many of us do from that area. And this podcast, shine a light on entrepreneurs who are doing it, so the next generation can find another way to make it. Not to say there's nothing wrong with being an entertainer or an athlete or nothing, but just give you another route for those who want it.
Okay. Now, out of all of the businesses, what made you decide photography?
Well, I was working a regular job. I did a lot of hard labor, so places where they don't appreciate you. Literally, one job I worked in, they were kind of like getting picked for a football team. They had everyone lined up, and they were like, let's see who we want today. We want you, you, and you. Rest of y'all can go home. So now you wasted all your gas where they drive up there, and they like, all right, we don't need you. You can go home. And so I seen how white, not to say just white people,
Mm-hmm.
but people in society only judge you off what value you can bring. And just being a regular worker, usually not going to bring much value because they feel you're replaceable. And I was like, I got to come up with something to where I can actually have a skill to where I'm valued by society. They just don't see me as a worker that just can be replaced. Like, oh, you don't feel like doing it? Go get another job. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the environment I came from. And so that what kind of made me start thinking, like, what can I do? In my first business, I, came up with the idea like everyone have a phone. Why don't I try to sell some kind of phone accessory? Everyone got it, so they should buy it. And it's one of them things where it sounds good on paper, but when you actually put it into practice, it don't usually go as well as planned. But then again, I didn't know much about business. It was my first try, so I tried to do that, and I wasn't successful. I was selling phone chargers, and it wasn't successful. And then, I always had an eye for photography, and I started doing photography as well, and that business on the side. Photography was the only thing I was actually making money in. The other
Mm-hmm.
business, I barely made a profit. Then I kind of had a moment like, why not just focus on photography since that's what's actually bringing in the money? And so I cut everything off and, focus on photography. But that what kind of got me into it. I had an eye for it and I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the things I felt I was good at. I didn't have to, go to school and learn how to, which a lot of photographers do, but I feel I can self teach myself and still learn the business side of things.
Wow, I didn't know they had a school for photography. I didn't know that.
Sure. And so basically, if you, I'm not for sure like the old schools they have classes for a university. You have some people take photography classes, and um not to say a lot of them are don't get successful, but usually the photographers I know that make it big, they usually self-taught. However,
Self-taught.
though, it's kind of like going to a business class. Usually, that person who teaching you business, he's not a millionaire,
Right.
but he's gonna teach you, how money works. So I think it's one of the things you actually have to get out and
Okay.
learn.
Okay. Now it didn't kind of not say fear you, but like because I remember I talked to this one photographer years ago, and I never thought nothing of it. He said, "Man, but when the smartphones came out, man, it hurt his business." You never looked at it like, well, man, everybody got a smartphone. You just dove in it, huh?
Yeah, with me, I always see people buy things for more than what they are. Like say Chick-fil-A, for example. Yeah, Chick-fil-A, gonna get you full, but it's multiple restaurants out here they can go to. They usually
Mm.
go to Chick-fil-A for a feeling, good customer service. They're gonna say you're a pleasure. They make you feel like a person. That's why I base my photography business off of. Yes, I wanted to be a great photographer and everything, but my goal was the customer experience first. And the way I do things with my clients, I appreciate them. After we done getting booked, they getting thank you gifts. They getting Christmas cards for Christmas. They getting Thanksgiving cards for Thanksgiving. I appreciate them. And I
Mm,
knew no phone couldn't replace that. No
right.
AI can replace me because I'm actually a person who actually care about my clients. So phones never slowed me down. As far as AI, advancing to where they said they're gonna take over photography, I'm not really worried about it because I put the customer experience first, and a lot of people don't. They just strictly business, and they can be replaced. If all you do is just photography, and that's your sole business, you don't actually get a customer experience. Yeah, you can be replaced by AI phones. But for me, I would never worry about it.
Wow. Wow. Now, how did you get your first client doing photography?
Okay, my first client usually gonna be someone you actually know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was my nieces and nephews. They
Wow.
was getting ready, and I was like, you know what? Let me take their photos. In the beginning of doing photography, you're gonna have to do things for free or for cheap. So your family members and friends usually where you start at.
Okay. Outside of your family and friends, do you remember your first client?
Yeah, so my first client outside of my family and friends was back when I was in church. I went back to the old church I used to visit, and they was curious, like, hey, what you do now? And I was like, hey, I do photography. And they was like, we got a wedding coming up. Can you do it?
Wow.
I was tall, never turned down nothing but your collar. So I
Right.
was like, yeah, I can do it. Was I ready for it? No, I didn't have the in photography, we got entry level cameras and we got professional cameras.
right.
I had an entry level camera, and I didn't know much about posing. I didn't know the timeline of the wedding, but I only charged them $100, and and they loved the photos, and I was like, it was a win-win-win for both of us.
Right. Right. Because I ran across one of your posts, man. It said, you remember charging $100 for a wedding, now you get $100 tip.
Right, and that's something I'm really proud of because like everyone think things happen overnight. Like I had a photographer working with me. I was like, oh, we can do this shoot. I paid 200. We get it done. They were kind of like, I think I'm gonna pass on it.
Mm.
Basically, like $200 not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, do you really have a passion for it? Because when I started, I did things for $100. I did things for free. I did things for cheap. But it wasn't about the money.
Mm-hmm.
It was about getting that experience. I seen it as an internship of me being able to learn how to shoot, learn how to work with clients. Now, of course, when you on that level to where you knowledgeable, you have the equipment, then you can charge more. But yeah, that start of $100 was a humble beginning, and that's where I come from. A humble beginning. So yes, that was that was it's always amazing for me when I get tips,
Mm-hmm.
and I realize like, dang, these tips is what I used to make back in the day. So it's
Right.
all about trusting the process.
Now, was you working a job before you went all in on your business? Take me through that.
Yeah, so I always had a job, and that's usually what you're gonna have to do as an entrepreneur. It's three ways you can run a business, and they call bootstrapping.
Mm-hmm.
And bootstrapping basically, where you work your 9 to 5 and do your business on the side. A lot of people would try to frown upon this method or talk down on you. If you working a job and we got a business on the side, do not be ashamed. I know the entrepreneur for what is it? What's the chicken place? Raising Cane's. He worked a regular job to where he can finance his business. So, and I
Right.
did the same thing. And far as anyone else, there's other routes you can take too. If you have good credit, you can use that to finance your business. If you can get other people, you can go to like a Shark Tank environment, look for investments, but you gotta make sure you have all your stuff to on point to do that. Have your business plan and everything together. But I did it through bootstrapping and like for the first 5 years, 6 years of doing my job, that's what I did. I worked a job.
Mm-hmm.
I just now recently left my job about a year and a half ago.
Really?
A job I was at for 3 years, and so what was bittersweet about that is they supported me. A lot of people would be negative, like, oh, that's not gonna make no money. Don't quit your day job. They actually support me, and like 6 months ago. They actually brought me back to the factory. They booked me to do some photos for the company. So that was
Wow.
sweet for me. And you don't get that too much. You don't get companies that are gonna actually, be okay with you going after your dreams. So I definitely do respect them for that.
Yes, that is awesome. That is awesome. Now, when you got ready to leave your job, was you a little nervous? Was you scared? Was you doubting yourself?
Right. So I was more excited,
Mm-hmm.
and this only because it wasn't no just spur of the moment. Some people, be like, "Oh man, I'm done with the job. I'm just leaving. I'm just gonna go out and do this." It was more of a calculated risk.
Okay.
So I've been planning this for 3 years before I actually put it into play.
Hmm.
And so I had the money together just in case. You need your rainy money because
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur, things don't always go as planned. So I wasn't as nervous, and it's only because I had a plan. I had a security blanket just in case things did go wrong. And according to Murphy Law, everything that can go wrong will go wrong. So you always want to have that security blanket. But
Yeah.
I would say definitely anyone who wanted to do it, make sure you plan everything out and at least have like I know how they say you should have like 2 months worth of expenses if you lose your job. I'm gonna say at least have 9 months planned out
Okay.
to where you can go 9 months and still, do your business. And once you get on five and it's not profitable like that, that's when you have to consider maybe, maybe I need to go back to getting a job on
Right.
the side. But I would say never give up on your business. Though some people say, "Oh, you need to quit that." Don't never give up. If you have to go back and work a job, that don't mean you fail.
Mm-hmm.
That just means you learn. You got to hit it from a different angle. So, whatever it takes to be successful legally, I feel you should do it.
Now, how does clients find you, or how do you find your clients, so to say?
Okay, that's a great question. So, right now, everything is word of mouth and networking.
Okay.
I usually go to a bunch of networking events and talk to people. And I'm
Okay.
just now reaping the benefits on what I did 2 years ago. However, though, this year I am getting in the door more marketing. So usually for a higher end client, what I learned is when you advertise on, depending on the product though, when you advertise on Facebook and Instagram, you usually get a lower end client. Not all the time, but majority of the time. And so
Okay.
what I learned is I got to find where the educated people at. So I went
Okay.
and, got a suit made by, a high end tailor that, does suit for a lot of rich people. And that's kind of, how I got into the market to begin with. Like, all right, where do they go? So I can learn how to market my photography to them. And then, this year I'm trying out sponsorship. So I'm sponsoring a golf course to where they're gonna have my logo up on the screen, when people playing golf. And I'm
Wow.
gonna see how that works. So for
Wow.
now, it's just been word of mouth and networking, but I'm slowly incorporating marketing into it now.
Wow. Now, I heard you say when you market on some platforms, you kind of get a lower end client. Now, coming from when you did $100 wedding, now you have more experience, I'm sure better equipment. Are you willing to budge on your price, or you like, hey man, I've been doing this too long, this is my price?
To be honest, this going into 2025, I'm not budging on my price.
Okay.
I think we have a little bit, what's the word, survivor remorse. As sometimes black people, we feel, man, they can't afford this, but I can understand why, so I need to lower my price.
Mm-hmm.
But the only problem to that is a lot of people don't appreciate it. Some of my most difficult clients were people I gave discounts to and lower prices. Some of my best clients were people who didn't want a discount and play full price. So
Mm.
I feel as time progresses on, I'm pretty stiff on my price. Outside if someone bring value in any other kind of different way, with certain people I would go down on the price for, but mostly I'm pretty stiff on my price, and that's just part of business. You're not gonna run a successful business always, going down on your price or giving discounts. Like everything is calculated far as what you need to make a profit. And once you go down, you're not making a profit. You're running a charity.
Right.
You're not running a profitable business.
Yeah, I call them nonprofit organizations.
Right, right. That's
Right.
what you run, a nonprofit organization.
Right. Now I seen on one of your videos you was doing a Catholic wedding, and you said in the video, a Catholic wedding, you can't walk down the aisle, you can't walk up to the front, you have to stay in the back. And
Right.
you was explaining how this certain lens is for this. Now, who taught you that? This lens is for this. This is for this.
that was a little learning on the go. So I actually did weddings before
Mm-hmm.
to where I didn't know much about lens. And so basically with your zoom lens, that's to get far back. And so I
Okay.
was running predicaments where people be like, "Hey, let's get a group photo." And I got this zoom lens on me and I can't get everyone, in the picture because it's made to zoom.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, let me try this wider angle lens. And, I learned that, the lower the lens goes, so say hypothetically you got a 16 through 35, that's going to be a wide angle lens because you can, get everything in the picture. And then you got your 70 through 200, which is a zoom lens. And that was the lens I was talking about. That's basically, to zoom in when you far away. But a lot of it was self-taught when it came to the lenses.
Okay. Okay. Now, I've also seen another video. You was doing an Asian wedding, and you were saying, I'm sure each culture do weddings different. And you said the Asian wedding, all of the guests have to take picture with the bride and groom. Is that correct?
Yes, and I really love that wedding because I don't know. I just never seen that much hospitality. They welcome
Mm.
everyone when they first come in, so all the guests get pictures with the bride and groom. Not only
Wow.
that, though, during the actual ceremony, I mean not ceremony, reception, they go around and toast everyone at the table. They're gonna go and greet. So table to table, they go and toast and drink. Next
Wow.
table, they go toast and drink. Like they get everyone there. And then on top of that, they want everyone there to feel like a guest. I'm the whole photographer there. They tell me go put your camera down and eat. And
Right.
they insisted. It wasn't no, I'm about to go get no. You go put that camera down and eat. And they
Right.
had servants, come and get you. Hey, what you need? What? No, don't get up. And it's like that level of hospitality that Asians have is like it's overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
coming from just regular American. Of course, we have hospitality. I'm from down south, so we
Right.
have that southern hospitality, but Asians definitely take it to a whole nother level.
I've heard that. I've heard. I don't know if this is true, but I remember this girl telling me when her sister got married, they think they had spent like 50,000 on the wedding. There was like 600 people coming, and she told me in their culture, I don't know if it's true, they don't buy gifts; they bring cash.
And what culture was this?
This is I want to say she was Asian. She said either cash or
Okay,
check. I mean, did you see gifts at that wedding? Or you?
come to think about it, I didn't see gifts.
So maybe.
So maybe that is something they do, but I know it's different type of Asians as well. So
Yeah, yeah, it
I'm
is.
not for sure, which one. But I tell you what, they did give me a tip though, so
Yeah,
that was great.
right, right. Now, have you
Right.
have you ever experienced? I've only seen this in movies. I've never heard this in real life. You shoot a wedding, then you get home and nothing's on your SD card.
Oh no. Hopefully, let me knock on wood. That would never happen. But as photographers, especially if you're a wedding photographer, you usually have a multiple card slot camera. So if something happened to one card, the other one, picks it up. And on
Okay,
top of that, usually with bigger weddings, we use two photographers. So say
okay,
hypothetically, if something do happen, at least they still get some pictures. But
okay.
in that predicament, I think you're gonna have a lawsuit on your hands because
Yeah,
it's a lot for wedding photography. I don't think the couple gonna be too happy, and it's
nah.
not like they can go back and hey, let's go shoot the wedding again. Like that's not nothing you can go and do again. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we definitely take precautions as that as a wedding photographer, as far as backing our pictures up and making sure we use multiple cards during the wedding. But if that happened to you as a photographer, not to say it's the end of the world, but
It's pretty much it.
you gonna expect a lawsuit and go ahead and make you a new photography business.
Oh, wow, man, man, that's now. Um, what was your first piece of photography equipment that kind of put you on the edge of, of your seat when you bought it? Because I'm sure that stuff can get quite expensive.
Well, I would say probably my full frame camera. It's a Nikon D850 for anyone that know about cameras. It's still a good camera to this day. It goes for around like 1,000, 2,000 around this
Okay.
day. But when I got it, I think it was around 4,000.
Wow.
And then the lens was around like 4,000 as well when it first came out. Then you have to get the memory card. So yeah, I think that whole camera setup set me back around like 8 grand.
$8,000. Now, I'm sure when you told people about this, they was like, "Man, you crazy, man! You ain't spending that much money on that." Did you?
Right.
Did you
And
hit?
that's how my ex was.
Really, man? But
Right, yes. Oh, go ahead. I'm
no,
sorry.
no, no. Go ahead.
No, I was just basically saying, yeah, she like, you gonna spend that much on a camera? And I was like, that's how I'm serious about this. I don't think y'all serious about what y'all do. I know people
Right.
who say, oh, this costs this much, I'm not doing that. Like, you're not serious about what you do.
Right.
Do you think Amazon gonna be like, oh, this equipment costs that much? I'm not doing that. No,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna find a way to pay for it. I mean, now it's easy to pay for it because they're a multi-billion-dollar
Right.
company. But in
Right.
the beginning, when he was just starting off, as a bookstore and this and that, I believe you can find a way to pay for anything. You might can't get it in the beginning, but if you truly want to invest in yourself, I feel you can do it.
Was was
And
was
a lot of
that
people.
was that was that camera was something you was kind of trying to save up for and wait to buy for a while?
Yeah, so basically what I did was um a camera is kind of like, I like to say it's like an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
If you know how to play an instrument, you can play any instrument.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know how to play an instrument, I don't care if you go buy the best instrument in the world, you don't know how to play it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I was to the point where I was, mastering my craft
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking up, good cameras. 'Cause I did want to, upgrade to a professional camera.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was like, "What's the best camera? That's the one I want. I'm going for the best camera." And I reading all the reviews, and the Nikon D850 at the time was the best camera for photo quality and color. So I was like, "Okay, this is the one I'm gonna save up and get then."
And you went for it. Now, up to date, up to this date, what's the most expensive piece of equipment you've bought for your business?
Far as for my business, I mean it's not equipment, but far as like expenses, I bought my logo, had my website done, all that cost me around like 4,000, 5,000. But far as actual equipment, believe it or not, I still use that Nikon D850. All my other equipment was not as expensive as that. I
Mm-hmm.
bought lights and everything that was around like 600, 700. But I feel as photographers, a lot of us waste money. We want to buy the newest equipment, this and that. But long as the equipment you got still up to quality and works good,
Mm-hmm.
I say use it until it mess up. So far as actual equipment, that camera was the most expensive thing I bought, and I guess you would say marketing, as far as paying for website, paying for logos, paying for my clothes. I spent a lot of money on that.
Wow. But you know what, man? It all is in business, man. It's kind of like it's good. Some of this stuff is expensive to keep a lot of guys out. Because some businesses is low barrier to entry. You just jump in and hey, you in business and you kind of undercutting everybody. But
Right.
by the camera equipment being so, well, let me ask you this: do you have a lot of low ballers in your industry?
Yes, we do, but it's kind of like it's hard for them to get into the door.
Mm.
Like say if you lowball regular photographers, like I'm from a small town outside early Corsicana. I can go there and get lowball all day because the market not high. They can
Okay.
be like, oh, well I know so and so do it for this, and I got lowball. Before I like say right now I'm in the Frisco area, it's hard for someone to lowball here because they want to actually know what's your portfolio, how good a quality. Like they want to actually see how good a
Okay.
photographer you are. They value actual work over money. So it's quality over quantity.
Mm.
And it's all depends on your environment. Some environments the opposite. They can lowball you. But I feel once you establish photographer, it's harder to get lowball. Not impossible, but
Mm-hmm.
harder because people value you and want that service.
Wow. Wow. Now, in your line of work, I heard you talk about gatekeeping, like guys not helping the next person to kind of come up. Is that something you've experienced? Other photographers gatekeeping you?
Oh yeah, it's a big part of photography. I'm not for sure how other industries work, but I'm pretty sure it's similar.
Mm-hmm.
But with photography, yeah, if it's someone who's $100,000 photographer, like the high end ones, you got some $1 million photographers. Yeah, they
Wow.
they real They real picky over who they talk to.
Hmm.
You can feel their energy. They don't want to tell you much. If you introduce yourself to as a photographer, like, oh, I'm a photographer too, they get, they shut you down. They don't want to hear nothing you got to say.
Wow,
And
man.
I had one. I asked for advice, like, hey, let me come do this. Let me shoot for you. Let me, learn. Oh no, I don't do that. Yeah, you gotta ask someone else. I'm an experienced photographer over 24 years, and I don't take on amateurs. Like, a lot
Wow.
of them real rude. So
Wow.
it's definitely a lot of gatekeeping when it comes to photography. But it's still some good photographers out there because I
Right.
met an Asian photographer. Matter of fact, the Asian wedding I shot, I brought an Asian photographer on with me, and man, he showed me so much about the culture. I didn't know all that stuff about it, and I would have still been able to shot the event, but I would have been lost. I wouldn't have been able to shot as good as I have if it wasn't for him, breaking down the culture to me.
Right.
And so it's still some good people out there, like in any other profession. You have good police and bad police. You have good doctors and bad doctors. In the same way with photographers, you have some that will help you and some that won't.
Some that won't. Well, now, have you ever ran into a problem? Like, let's say you're doing like a graduation or something or a wedding. Do people get in the way with their phones while you're trying to do your job?
Yes, and that is a problem. So usually, for as weddings, we have it in our contract, and basically in my contract, to sum it up in so many words. It basically say I'm okay with everyone, taking pictures with their cameras and stuff after I get the shot. Let
Oh.
me get my shot first, and then y'all can, come in. And that's the problem I had at the Asian wedding, more at the time constriction, because we had so many people coming in and out, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people want to stop it. Oh, let me take this picture with my phone, or they ask you to do it. Hey, take this picture with my phone, and now I got to, be the bad guy and say, no, we can't do that. I got to move along, because we on a time constriction. So yes, it does happen, but usually if you can get ahead of it and talk with the client and let them know, like, okay, I'm okay with cameras, just make sure I get the shot first, and they tell their clients, I mean, not their clients, their guests, and then you tell the people as well, you usually can avoid it.
Okay. 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 Now, do you have your own studio or you mainly go to the client?
So I mainly go to the client. I had my own studio for about 2 years. In Corsicana, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't very profitable
Okay.
with me doing weddings and events mostly. It was just a bill, so I was mostly paying.
Okay.
However, though, I do want to eventually get another studio when I do bring on another portrait photographer. So I'm in works right now with another portrait photographer where he do the portrait side of things, and I still do the weddings. But once the system get going, I love doing weddings. It's my passion, so I'm still gonna do it. But once the system in play, I won't have to do it. So when there's so many weddings coming up, I can get to assist the other photographers who hungry for it and want to do it.
Mm.
But far as actual brick and mortar, I do plan on getting me another one, but I have to work out the numbers and make sure it's profitable this time. It's just not a bill that's not bringing in the money.
Okay. Okay. Now, out of all of the shoots you do, like the headshots, birthdays, graduations, weddings, which one has been the most profitable for you?
It's definitely weddings.
Weddings.
A lot of
A
work,
lot of
but
work.
definitely more profitable.
Weddings.
So usually, say a good wedding photographer, as far as a wedding, they charge anywhere from 5,000 to 15,000 a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually the good ones. Then when you get into great photographers, like the ones who actually known, be in magazines and all that, it get ridiculous, like 35,000 and up what they
Wow.
charge. So
Wow.
it definitely profitable. I'm not there yet. Like my highest wedding package is $3,229.
Okay.
So I'm more on I'm a budget compared to the top end photographers,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm slowly working to get to that status as well. So weddings is my biggest profit margin. So that's why I focus on wedding more. A lot of other photographers shy away from it because it's a lot of work. How it's profitable, but you definitely gonna put it in more work. But I love it. I love everything, the process of it, actually shooting it. So weddings is my go-to thing and what I make the most money out of.
Now, is it a long like let's say wedding Saturday at 5 o'clock? So you go do your thing, maybe 3 4 hours. Are you editing all day Sunday, or you probably an hour or two you're done editing?
Well, it all depends. So say like usually a typical wedding, 3 hours is it's gonna be usually way longer than 3 hours. So say
Oh,
like
okay.
10 hours.
Mm.
And then that's gonna be a lot of photos. So you looking at probably around 3,000 photos.
Wow.
And usually if it's a lot, I usually send it off. So it's a website called Upwork, and they got an app as well. So you got people from Bangladesh, Africa, like people from all over the world
Mm.
that specialize in editing photos.
Okay.
And the great thing about it is they don't charge as much as someone in America. So
Okay.
now you send it off and get it edited. And that's why I do a lot of the time for the weddings, but sometimes I edit it myself. So say hypothetically, if some do come back and I'm like, I really don't like this editing style, I can still go in and, fix it myself. But
Okay.
I'm as I got, more of the business mindset, I realize a business is actually, can run without you. And if I'm editing everything myself, it's just a job. It's not a business. So, but it all
Okay.
depends. So sometimes I do it myself. Sometimes I send it out depending on my workload and the time I have available.
Okay. Because since you said that about the wedding, like 10 hours, because some people want you to kind of take pictures of the bride putting her makeup on, and then you gotta do the grooms, and then you gotta be there for the whole event. Then you gotta kind of be there for the after party. So some weddings you do put in 10 hours, then, huh?
Right, right. Some be on the shorter side. Like
Okay.
recently, I had one. I just wanted the ceremony cover.
Okay.
That was about like 3 hours. Kind of similar to what you were saying, but
Okay.
usually the whole wedding, yeah, it's gonna run a little bit. Like it can get up to 12 hours sometimes. And
Mm.
if I never did an Indian wedding, but I heard about them, and a lot of they stuff are flexible. I mean, like a festival, so it lasts 3 days.
A lot of SD cards.
Right.
Man.
I haven't had one yet, but
Do you want to
I
do
don't even
one?
know how to charge.
I guess
I'm kind of questioning, like I don't know, dude.
I guess charge
I'm
for three
definitely
wins.
right, right.
Man. Now,
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be bad.
right? Yeah, I know that'll be profitable for you. Now, what's been your best client so far?
I would say my best client is it's a lawyer I work with. He have his own law firm. I didn't make much money as a wedding. I didn't get a tip or nothing, but he actually running a campaign to be I don't know what is it district attorney where you have to run for. I'm not for sure what it is, but
Okay.
he actually running a campaign to be something in the town, and for me to be in part of like a campaign to where I'm literally driving around and seeing my work on billboards, just seeing it all around town, and it's a good feeling seeing it in magazines. So
Wow.
that was one of my best clients I worked with so far, and it just because I felt I was doing something bigger than photography.
Right, because I seen one of your videos when I don't know if this the same guy, but your one of your photos was in a magazine, and you say he sent the magazine to you.
Yes, sir, that's the one.
That's the one. Yeah, I seen that picture. That was a cool picture.
And the crazy thing is about it, I wasn't even gonna send that picture. I was
Really?
like, I really don't like the lighting on it. Yeah, the lighting wasn't this. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't perfect. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, but I still sent it, and that's the one he loved and went with. So that's why I
Wow.
tell people like, man, just put it out. Don't be. I think as photographers, we be too critical about our work. Just put it out, and let them choose if they like it or don't like
Man, yeah, I loved it.
it.
I liked it, man. I did. Now, what's what's
Thank you, thank you.
what's been your worst client?
Oh, I would hate to say it, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I actually had a wedding that it was a last minute wedding. Anything last minute as a photographer usually a red flag when it comes to weddings.
Mm.
Usually I'm gonna say a red flag because sometimes something happened to the photographer and it's last minute and they just have to step in. There's nothing the couple did wrong. It just unfortunate events happen.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the few times. Usually it's usually someone that didn't plan. They rushing. They waited last minute to do everything, and now they just trying to, rush, rush, rush. And when I was newer at photography, being a photographer, I take almost any job 'cause I just wanted that experience,
Mm-hmm.
headache or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took that job, and basically it was a wedding, and the bride coordinator didn't show up, so they didn't have a coordinator for the wedding. I know a little bit about weddings, how timeline works, so. I decided to help the best I could.
Mm-hmm.
To be like, all right, when you do this at this time, you got this coming up. Let's go get this. And she had so much of an attitude. She was when I, got everyone together for the family photo. She like, I'm tired of doing this. I'm ready to get off my feet. Gonna get these photos over with. That's all I want to do. And I was like, okay, so you don't want to do the couple photos. Okay, so we just gonna do family photos, I guess. So we did that, and the coordinator for the venue was like, oh, you're not gonna get no couple photos of her. And then she was like, yeah, I want my couple, me and my husband together. So I got to be professional. In my head, I like, you just said you didn't want no photos.
Right.
But I stay professional. Like, yes, yeah, okay, yeah, we can go do that. So we go find the spot. Like, you guys scout the area first. So I know where we going. But now I'm on the go looking for a spot. Of course, I'm not gonna let them know it though. I'm making it look like I know exactly where I'm going. What I'm doing. And then so we get there and do the poses. The coordinator was like, you wasn't playing for this, dude. Have you ever even
Oh
shot a wedding
man.
before?
Oh
So
man.
now, now with me having, she said, on top of this, I have another photographer working with me. So now she making me look bad in front of my other photographers and have I ever even did a wedding before. And
Man.
I'm trying my best to make the wedding even go smoothly as it is. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm getting criticized. So I'm putting myself at risk for a bad review. And it's
Yeah.
like, what, I'm not even gonna take that type of client no more. If I see you not prepared, I'm gonna ask you questions like, oh, what made you, wait to this, and that.
Mm-hmm.
And if I feel once I talk to you, you wasn't prepared, I'm not gonna take you as a client. Because what I realize is it's a headache
Mm-hmm.
taking someone who's not prepared, and on top of that, you risk your brand. Now that I got another event coming up at that venue, but in her head, I'm the photographer that don't know what I'm doing.
Oh
Don't never
man.
use that photographer, and that's what she feels in her head. Because I took a job that the coordinator didn't even show up to, and I
Yeah.
tried my best to help.
Yeah. So
So yeah,
next
that was my worst client.
so next time the coordinator don't show up, you ain't gonna say nothing, huh?
No, I'm just gonna do my job. Like,
Now,
all right,
man, so now let's say you had a client. Let's say you had a client from one of them eras, like around that time when you was still gaining your experience until today. Let's say one of those clients, they call you back, hey man, we want you to do this, and you be like, look, man, last time I did this was X amount. My price is this now. Have you ran into that?
yes, I have. So I recently did a family reunion. Everything I did would have cost them 14,000. I mean, not 14,000, 4,000.
Mm-hmm.
Over $4,000. I had the drones and everything, and
Wow.
they I gave them the good quality photos and everything. Like I printed out the photo album, and I did it again for them. Except this time I didn't use the. I mean, it was still quality, but it wasn't like my quality because it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't my actually photos I printed. I used a third party to make a booklet,
Mm-hmm.
and they just said, "Oh no, we don't want that. It's not right. It's not what you gave us the last time."
Mm.
And I was like, y'all didn't. Do y'all understand the package y'all received? Go to another photographer and see how expensive this is. And so I didn't say, of course, I didn't say it in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
words
yeah.
because you gotta be
Yeah,
professional.
yeah.
But you know, and it basically, made me realize that sometimes you gotta move along with your clients. You can't
Yeah.
keep the same clients if they don't value you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a point in time when you started off and you did things for cheap because you were learning. But now they got to understand you're not learning no more. You had a top of the top equipment,
Mm-hmm.
you had the experience, and you had a clientele. It's different if I'm out here struggling, can't get people to book me, and what value do I got to go off of? Don't no one else value me, so why should they value me? But once you have value as a photographer, you have to let them old clients go, and that's what I learned this year, 2024. Is that
Wow.
when the old client hits you up and want the same price, you sometimes you gotta be the bad guy and say no, and that's what my biggest problem is when it came to business is like I'm too soft. Like
Mm-hmm.
if a single mama come up to me with a sad story like, oh, I just want to get some pictures for my baby.
Mm-hmm.
He got graduating coming up, and it's like stuff like that. Make me all right. I do it. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
But as we talked about earlier, before we run the business and not a a
Non-profit.
nonprofit organization.
That's true. That's true. Now, what's one of the mistakes you had to learn the hard way in your business?
I definitely would say by being too nice.
Too nice.
Sometimes you just gotta say no. You can't help everybody, especially when you start making a little money. People gonna come around more. Hey, cuz
Yeah.
you got this, you got that. When they see things going good, like soon after I post that $100 tip thing on
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
on my page. Hey, cuz you got about $30 on my.
Because you weren't
I
expecting
know
that
you
tip.
got it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it's free money.
Yeah.
You already made your other money.
Man, that's true, man.
Yeah, and I would say, yeah, that was the hardest lesson I learned. Just you can't be too nice when it comes to business.
Okay. And what's one of the obstacles you've had to overcome thus far in business?
I would say in business, especially at the beginning, it was trying to get that type of client that can pay and appreciate you, because it's like, okay, where they appreciate, well, where they seem like they appreciate me, with quotation marks, like they would book me and everything, they won't pay my prices, and like this is where I actually get booked at.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I try to go into this high market, say I'm gonna go over here with these rich people and talk to them and network with them, they don't give you the time of day. Like, oh no, they real sharp with you. So now you kind of like in a dilemma. Like, I can go over here with the people who do book me, but not get paid much.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I try to go over here with the people who can afford me, they just real nonchalant and don't give you the time of day. And so that was my biggest hurdle when it came to business, figuring out how to require a client that can actually pay what I'm asking for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so the way I got past that hurdle was just kept on going, just not giving up till I figure out a way. And basically my way was, I set my value, just keep putting my work out there and start marketing. Marketing works like it's conscious and self-consciously. If someone see you coming every day, they eventually, hey man, what you do?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much pay into about it. Everything matters to me, from the way I look, the way I dress, being in shape. I feel all that, make people drawn to you. And you got to get out and market, but the best clients you have is the one naturally drawn to you.
Mm. That's that's awesome. Now, where do you see your business in 5 years, and where do you see it in 10 years?
Well, in 5 years, I definitely want to be the top wedding photography business when it comes to weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 10 years, I want to be the best photography company, period. I want to be the Amazon of photography, to the point like, no matter what you need, we got photographers to do it. And we got high end photographers. It's a lot of great photographers out there, but you know, the visual matter a lot to me. So I see people sloppy,
Mm-hmm.
see, people not groomed. I see
Mm-hmm.
people, not smelling good. Like, a lot of that comes into play. And so I want to be that Rolex of photography, to where you getting a high end photographer that
Mm-hmm.
knows what he doing, that dressing good, that's know the environment. If you're doing a bar mitzvah, we're gonna get someone who specializes in doing bar mitzvahs. Like,
Okay.
that's where I want the brand to be in 10 years. I want us to be that luxury photography brand that everyone knows. The same way when we think of a Rolex, we think of that luxury watch. When we think of a Bugatti, we think of that luxury car. And that's the same thing I want to have that reign to Hillary's photography. It might just be Hillary's in the future. We might be so known we can take off that photography and just call the company Hillary's.
I like that. I like that. I like that. Yeah. Man, now let's say, if is it any advice you can give to yourself on day one? Like, let's say you got a guy who want to do what you are doing, and he's on day one. What's some advice you can give him?
My first advice is just learn. Learning is free. It's YouTube out here. You can go to the library and start reading books. Just learn your craft. When it comes to photography, you should know everything. You should know how to use the camera. You should know how lighting work. That's your first goal, is to learn the craft of photography. Then from there, that's when you get into the business side of things. But you have to learn what you do. You have to be a master at your craft. And if you're not a master at your craft, you need to start over at what you do.
Wow. Now, is it any books you read? You know, any motivational speakers you listen to?
Yeah, so me, I rarely read like photography books.
Mm-hmm.
All my stuff is based off business type books. So one of the books I started off reading is Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The book I'm reading right now is called Big Thumb. That really don't have nothing to do about business. That's more about the mindset of thinking or opening up our third eye, but you can translate it into business. And as far as motivational speakers, I like people who raw, uncut, and give you the knowledge you need. So
Mm-hmm.
Dan Pena, he's an older guy. He's one of the guys
Mm-hmm.
I like listening to. Um, what's the other guy? Gary V. I like Gary V. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of them I like listening to. But I'm self motivated as well. I usually don't idolize people, so I'm not gonna sit up and listen to them every day. But
Mm-hmm.
every blue moon, when I feel I want to hear some motivational speakers, I do listen to them.
Wow. Okay. Well, Mr. Hillary, I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you carving time out to do this podcast with me. Do you want to plug your socials before we get out of here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Hillary's photography, everything. So you look me up on Facebook, Instagram, anything. Just Hillary's photography, and I pop up. That's Hillery. I know some people spell it with a.
Yeah, I did. When I reached out to you, I did. Yeah. Well, again, Mr. Hillary, I really appreciate it, man, and keep up the great work.
Man, I appreciate you too, and man, I'm happy to see you out here, making a podcast, and I want to see it grow. Maybe we can do it again when you have a little setup in studio. We can do it in person.
Man, yeah, I'm gonna have to come out. I'm gonna have to come where you at. Bring my cameras. Let you critique me a
Yes,
little
sir.
bit.
Yes, sir.
Thanks again, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You have a great day.
All right, you too.
All right.
Now let's give that guy a round of applause. As y'all heard him say, that the camera and the lens was $8,000. Now, and as you heard him say, his girlfriend was like ex-girlfriend at the time. I believe he said ex. Forgive me if she's not your ex. He said, "You really gonna spend that much money?" That man believed in himself that much to spend $8,000 on a camera, and now, hey, it's paying for itself. How much are you willing to invest in yourself to achieve the things you want to achieve? Thanks for tuning in from the Valley to the Mountaintop podcast. I hope you are on your journey. I hope you are headed to your mountaintop. I hope you go from your valley all the way to your mountaintop. But if not, hey, you can sit on the sidelines and watch everybody else achieve the things they want to achieve and look for somebody to feel sorry for you. I'm your host, Micah Gibson. I'm checking out, and I'll see y'all on the next one.